Alrighty, y'all. So I haven't done one of these videos, God knows how long. I think it's been a year. I don't even think I did one for Cinderella. I don't think I did one for I think the last time I did this video was for Scarlet Black Shadow, so over a year ago, which is a how to build these characters video. And I think this one is more important for me to build just because there's a lot of factors that go behind this character's kit, right? It's kind of obvious on how to build her, I feel like, but a lot of people are still asking what cube should I give her, what overload gear set should I give her, and it's crazy because I don't even own the character yet, and I'm making this video, but obviously I've done my testing. You guys, I have a YouTube channel where all my videos are on, so make sure you guys subscribe and like, by the way. But we're gonna talk about what skills to prioritize and also what you should be giving her and all that stuff. Now I do think because this character is a support, 10-10-10 is what you want by the end of the day. This is not a character where you want like 10-7-10 or 10-6-10 or like 7-10-10. I think at the end of the day, this is a character you want full 10-10-10, right? The reason why is because by having 10-10-10 on the skill 1, you are getting more increase to the full burst gauge, the Phil's burst gauge, which I think is a great effect that you need to have with this character. Same thing with the cooldown reduction. I think that's just something you're going to want to have. So leveling up skill 1 is going to be mandatory. Skill 2, that's where her damage comes from. So if you're looking for that little mermaid that does those crazy numbers, her skill 2 is going to have to be upgraded. I'm sorry, it is gonna have to be upgraded for you to get those crazy damages. And then on her burst skill, the attack damage buff and the reload mag and the attack buff she gives herself, I feel like are great and all. They are lower percentages than I would have liked, but I think they're still great overall. But that's another skill you're probably going to want to upgrade to 10, just because the burst skill is something you're going to be using every single time with this character, since she's a 20-second cooldown character. But if you want my honest opinion, I would prioritize skill 1 and 2 first over the burst skill, just because like the burst skill for me, I'm not losing much by not having a full level 10 burst skill. You know what I mean? Like for my burst skill to be level 10 and then for my skill 1 and skill 2 to be like level 3, level 4, level 5, I feel like I've done something wrong there. But for my skill 1 and skill 2 to be as high level as possible and then my burst skill to be a lower level, I'm not losing much. The attack damage buff at level 10 is the maximum 10%. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like, oh, that's nothing, but at the same time it's like like you're gonna be fine if it's not level 10, right? And then the same thing with the reload magazine. That means it's just she gives you back bullets when you use her burst skill, right? It's not reload speed or anything like that. She gives you back your bullets when you use her burst skill, which is a great effect. 33% reload mag is good and all, but again, it's not like a must have. Like it's not, I would say the reload 33% mag is like, it's great in terms of how this character's kit works specifically, but overall I wouldn't be like, okay, yeah, you need to have that. And then the self buff, like the 17% attack buff she gives to herself, is again great for her skill 2 and all, but I feel like the cooldown reduction and the fill burst gauge and the attack damage buff on her skill 1 that she provides for the entire team is it's just better. And the same thing for the additional damage that she's doing for the damage that, or the amount of ammo that everybody on your team is using. So I would prioritize skill 1, then skill 2, then skill 3, or then the burst skill. But overall, I think you want 10-10-10 on all her skills. You want it to be like this. For the cube, let's talk about the cube. There's 3 cubes I would say you can have for this character, depending on your comp. Most people are going to be using this character. Oh, I'll also talk about teams with this character at the end of this video. Most people are going to be using this character with Cinderella, or not with Cinderella, with Crown. So I would say the best cube for her honestly could be the Bastion cube, just because after a certain amount of bullets you get bullets back, if that makes sense. So like for example, when shooting 10 times you get 3 bullets back. That's good. That's good. That's going to be very helpful for her and her skill 2, right? Is it a must-have? No, but again, that is going to be very, very, very powerful for her skill 2, where after a certain amount of bullets are shot, you are going to be doing this damage, right? And it's very helpful because it's like, essentially what's happening is like before you end up getting to a reload, you're getting back so much bullets that it's contributing to the fill burst gauge, which is 400 normal attacks consumed, and then her attacking stuff, which is 500 normal attacks consumed. So I would say this is a great cube for her. Another cube is the resilience cube, always a fantastic cube for any and every character in the game. Just reload speed is great in general because if you know you need to reload. With having this cube, you're reloading faster, meaning you're getting back into your bullets faster, like being able to shoot faster and all that stuff. So resilience cube is another great cube. And then the last cube I would always say is wingman for a type of character like this, and especially since you are going to be using this character with someone like Crown, who does offer reload speed already. Having the wingman cube is a good option. I would just say it's the last option. Like, I wouldn't recommend the wingman cube over the other two cubes at all, because at the same time you are getting more mag, right, ammo capacity from this, but you can get that from overload gear as well. So I would prefer the wingman last out of the three. I would say probably Baishion cube 1, resilience cube 2, and then wingman 3. But realistically, you can use the resilience cube or the Baishion cube. It's up to you at the end of the day. Now, for overload gear, I would easily say you should be aiming for ammo capacity, either on 3 or 4 of the overload gear. You should probably be aiming for elemental damage on all 4 pieces of your gear. And then the last one could just be not hit rate, attack percent, right? Attack percent is going to be helpful for this character since she is a DPS at the same time as a support to an extent. So realistically, ammo capacity, elemental damage, and attack percent is what you're looking for. You could go for crit rate and crit damage if you want. I would never recommend that, but if that's like, let's say you have elemental damage and ammo capacity, and the last line you have says crit rate or crit damage, and you're like, Zxous, should I reroll that crit rate, crit damage for attack? I don't know if I want to do it. Then by all means don't. But I would say the go for is elemental damage on all 4 pieces, attack percent on all 4 pieces, or you can do hit rate and ammo, or hit rate and attack if you want, but I would say elemental on all 4, ammo capacity on all 4, and then you can mix and match the last stat between attack and whatever else you want to do, but I would probably say attack on all 4. That's just me personally. Now, when it comes to Little Mermaid and her team, I would say her best team synergy is going to be her and Crown, right? Her and Crown with any character realistically is going to be fantastic, right? She's the burst 1, Crown's the burst 2, and then you can put whatever burst 3s you want. There's no dedicated burst 3 design for this character, besides machine gun characters, I guess, right? Because remember, with machine gun characters, you're going to be getting a lot more damage out of Little Mermaid by having all these machine gun characters. Like, if my entire team was Little Mermaid and then 4 machine gun characters, I'm going to get insane numbers, because little machine gun characters are going to help me get 500 shots off faster than like if I was to have a full team of snipers, for example. So the DPS with machine guns are better for Little Mermaid specifically, but in terms of her best synergy, I would say it's her and Crown, or her and Helm. Right, Helm, because both Little Mermaid and Helm have burst gauge filling, and then because Little Mermaid has cooldown reduction, you're basically not only going into your burst skill almost instantly after you end the full burst, but it's helping a lot of these characters have their full burst effects proc the entire game, if that makes sense, right? For all these characters in the game that give an effect based on when you enter a full burst, having Helm and Little Mermaid on the same team is making you go back into your full burst so quick, to the fact where it's basically permanent. Like, for example, Helm, Little Mermaid, and Crown, by using that team, everything Crown has to offer is activated 100% of the time, because a lot of her stuff lasts 15 seconds. She gives a reload speed buff for 15 seconds for anybody who uses their burst skill and doesn't use their burst skill within that full burst cycle. That lasts for 15 seconds. So because we're going to be entering our full burst back within 15 seconds, we're always going to have that reload speed buff permanent. The same thing goes for that attack buff, and the same thing goes for that defense buff to whoever gets that. When it comes to her attack damage buff on her skill 2, the healing, that's always going to be permanent with Helm, because Helm is going to be healing faster than that attack damage buff for 20.99% for 7 seconds ends, right? And then her burst skill, again, everything there lasts for 15 seconds. And because we're entering the burst skill again before 15 seconds end, it's going to just reapply and start 15 seconds again, right? So with that team specifically, Crown's entire kit is activated 100% of the time. And that's the little things you got to realize. So That's what I would say to do when it comes to building Little Mermaid. Really just looking for her support friends, and then your DPS can be whoever. It can be Rappy, Cinderella, Scarlet Black Shadow, Red Hood, whoever you want. Your strongest DPS, just put them on the team with Little Mermaid and Crown. Now, if you don't have Crown, people are asking, Zxous, who should I use if I don't have Crown? Because that's the one thing I've been seeing. So many people for some reason don't have Crown all of a sudden. It's okay if you don't have Crown. I would say Grave is a good option, especially if you're going to be using Grave with Red Hood and then Helm and Little Mermaid, just because Grave also has fill burst gauge, so you're kind of almost going into your fill burst gauge instantly. You can also use Mari from the Evangelion collab, which I expect no new players to have, so you can just scrap that entire thing, I guess. But Grave is like the closest thing I would say to having, because when it comes to burst 2, you don't have the best options when it comes to these godly burst 2 supports. You don't have the best options. I mean, you could use Blanc and stuff, but Blanc's, like, her supports are not even close to Crown supports, right? Out of all these burst 2, I would say Grave and Mario are the closest thing you could ever get to Crown. And if not, then you can use Anchor and Mast. That's the only other one. The Maid Anchor and Maid Mast are the only other things I can think of. But then that would be not Litter, my bad. If I've been saying Litter this whole video, I apologize. That would be Little Mermaid, Mast and Anchor, and then 2 burst 3s. And if you still want Helm on that team, then you're only going to have 1 burst 1 or 1 burst 3 that's not Helm. But don't get me wrong, Helm's favorite item makes her do crazy damage, right? You can use her and her burst 3. Her burst 3 makes her do crazy damage. But yeah, the ideal, you would want Little Mermaid, Crown, and Helm. That's like the ideal 3 characters you want on your team, and then 2 DPS, and then you win the game. That's what I think, at least. So yeah, you guys let me know if this was helpful for any of you guys. Hopefully it was, but it's your boy Zxous, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. I'm out later. Peace.